How's it going, everyone? Today we're going to talk about who I personally have picked for the winners for Week 18, the final week of football. I'm super excited for this week, especially for the last game of Week 18. So let's go ahead and jump right into it, shall we? So the first game that we have two games on Saturday. Both of them are the North for the AFC, so I'm super excited for that. But the first game we have on Saturday is the Cleveland Browns going at the Ravens at their home. Do I really need to go in depth on why I think it's the Ravens here? The Ravens started off horrible. I mean, not the worst, but they started off pretty rough this year. But they made a good comeback this year, I would say. But yeah, I think the Ravens have this one clear in the bag. And I think the Browns just lose here. The Browns have looked horrible throughout this whole year. They just don't look as good as they should. And it sucks because Jameis Winston was doing good, and it's not even going to matter next season because they're not even going to use him. They're going to use Watson right back again and be at square one again, which is so sad for Jameis Winston. But yeah, it sucks to see the Browns in this situation. They're just right back at square one as per usual. And them getting rid of Joe Flacco, I think, was the worst decision they made, but I understand that they had to start Watson, but Watson is the most useless player in the NFL right now currently. So I have the Baltimore Ravens for this first game. This second game for Saturday, the last game on Saturday, that is, the Bengals and the Steelers. The Bengals are trying to clinch this playoffs, and I'm going to be honest, man, I see the Steelers losing. I love the Steelers. They're my favorite team. But, God, these last 3 weeks have been just pure awfulness. I don't know what really to say. The Russell Wilson train died pretty quickly. He started off very well this season, and then it's kind of died down a little bit. Hopefully they could start Justin Fields a little bit this game. I want to see Justin Fields play. I really do, because I like Justin Fields a lot. He deserves to play at least a little bit, you know? But the Bengals here, I think Joe Burrow deserves MVP. I'll say it. I do think Lamar is playing phenomenal this season, but it's crazy how all of the Lamar Jackson dick suckers last year were also saying that stats don't matter, and somehow stats matter now. Crazy how that works. But yeah, no, I think the Steelers lose. I think they go on their 4-week losing streak and they lose first round in playoffs because that's typical Steelers fashion. I hate it because I'm a Steelers fan, but you get used to it. They're going to make it to the playoffs, lose first round, and then repeat next year. It's rough. Tomlin, I think the Bengals got this, though. So, Bengals and the Ravens win their games, and this looks even better for the Bengals for their playoff chances. And here we go with the first game that is shown for Sunday on January 5th here. The Panthers and Falcons. The Panthers... Yes, the Panthers have looked better throughout this season. Like, Bryce Young started off horrible. Andy Dalton took over for a little bit. He looked good, and then he started looking horrible, so they just started Bryce Young for the rest of the season, which is fair. And he played better after he came back, too, so that's a big thing. But the Atlanta Falcons are here to keep their dreams alive to going to the playoffs. And they need the Buccaneers to lose their game. But in all honesty, I see the Falcons not losing. Holy. I see the Falcons winning. I really do. But for some reason, I feel like this is going to be a close game. Not because the Panthers are going to play good, but because the Falcons play bad. This season, the Falcons were promised to be a really good team this season. It was weirdly talked a lot about for the Falcons to become one of the better teams this season, but they've kind of fell short, in my opinion at least. But I do think they win this game though. And here we go with the gag game. The Texans, they were looking good during the offseason, but it's really weird how they fell flat really quick during the season. Yes, they are 9-7, but something to me just seems off. I feel like because they will go to the playoffs, they don't feel like playoff contenders to me yet. Yes, CJ Stroud is an amazing quarterback. I think he's still one of the better quarterbacks we've seen in the last few years, but he hasn't played that way this season. His rookie season was phenomenal, and in my opinion, will be pretty hard to match. Being that good as a rookie kind of puts your standards even higher now, and he hasn't been able to live up to that, and it is kind of rough to see that. But for this game, I do see the Texans winning because the Titans have looked so bad this season. And it's crazy because they got good signs during the offseason, for defense at least. But they haven't been able to do shit on offense, which is horrible. Will Levis has been a fucking meme at this point. Mason Rudolph tried to help the team, but he's honestly just not a starting quarterback in my eyes. He has always been a secondary, maybe even a third. But I don't know. To me, the Tennessee Titans just need to lose this game and hope to get a good round pick to hopefully help this horrible team, honestly. The coach, it is his first year as a coach, but that should not be no excuse. Being 3-13, that is absurd to see. And yeah, Texans win this easily, I would say, but I don't think they make it far in the playoffs. And here we go with the game I'm really excited for, just because of Saquon. I can't wait for him to break 2,000 yards on the team that let him go, and the team that's always been bad. And we all knew that Barkley was a good player in New York, but it was hard for him to do anything because he was in New York. Now that he's off of New York, we see how good he is and how well he's able to run. And the fact that he's about to break 2,000 yards, hopefully 2,000 yards, I hope he's able to break it against the Giants here to kind of do the double barrel to them and shoot them. Like, that to me seems so perfect, and it's well written. I do have the Eagles winning this regardless, though. I don't think they lose this game. If they do, that's going to be bad, but I think they win. And here we go with another game where I think it's just going to be a poor watch. I think this game will be a poor watch, to be honest. The Jags were kind of being hyped up as one of those teams that were going to be good this year because they barely even missed the playoffs last year. So to come off of that and then coming into this year being like, we're here to win, and then being 4-12 is crazy. But the Colts are in no better situation. I don't think Anthony Richardson should be running this team, honestly. He hasn't shown to me that he should be running this team to begin with. Joe Flacco looks so much better on this team than Anthony Richardson, and it's rough because I think Anthony Richardson is good, but he cannot lead a team, and it shows. The team is 7-9, which is better than my recent memory or my memory at all, but it still just doesn't prove much to me. This is going to be a poor watch, and honestly, this game doesn't matter. It's just to see who can win and lose. I have the Colts winning if they start Joe Flacco, because it is seeming like Anthony Richardson has missed some practices, so maybe they might start Joe Flacco, but I don't see the Colts or the Jags game looking fun to watch. So that's my take on this game. I have the Colts winning if they start Joe Flacco. If they don't, Jags win. Here we go with another game that I think is just a pointless game in my opinion. Commanders and Cowboys, but it's going to be interesting to watch at the same time just because the Commanders can play horrible this game, and the Cowboys win it and upset the Commanders. Like, it's possible. I don't think it'll happen, but it is possible. I do see the Commanders winning, though. Commanders have looked, again, solid this season. They are 11-5 for a good reason, and for the fact that they weren't even supposed to look good to begin with is crazier. Jane Daniels has shown that he is an amazing player and definitely Rookie of the Year. Yeah, he's played great. I've enjoyed seeing the Commanders play. Cowboys have just been there. They have done better since Dak's injury, but before they could do anything, I think they should get rid of Jerry Jones. That's sabotaging the team more than anything. But yeah, I have the Commanders winning. This game kind of upsets me in many ways because the Bears were really praised to be a winning team this season and was going to be considered a playoff contenders, or if not that, at least an 8-9 team at least. But as you can see, they're 4-12, and I don't blame Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams has tried to play good with this team, but it's hard when you are the most sacked player in the NFL since the 2000s. The last person to get that many sacked that much was a Carr. Derek Carr's brother. Like, that to me is horrible. They need to fix this O-line for the draft or do something. Because this O-line is horrible, and it shows because he has been sacked, I want to say over 60 times. I might have the number wrong, but I'm pretty sure over 60 times. That is horrible. So, I hate seeing the Bears be like this, but the Packers own you. Packers win this. They're 11-5. Jordan Love hasn't looked as good as he did last season, but he still looks good. So I do see the Green Bay Packers winning this. Another gag game here. The Saints started off all the way here, and then went all the way down to the bottomless pit. I don't see the Saints winning this, especially because Baker Mayfield has been going crazy for the past 2 years now. Yeah, I just don't see a world where the Saints beat the Bucs here. The Buccaneers have just looked good, honestly. They are 9-7, but they also beat one of the most competitive teams this season, which we'll get to them later. But yeah, Bucs, I see winning and clinching the playoff spot, and the Falcons not being able to make it, but get close. Another gag game here. Yeah, the Bills win. In no world does the Patriots beat the Bills. Yeah, I think the Bills win to continue Josh Allen's amazing playing style this season. Especially the fact that the Bills were supposed to look bad this season for losing their best receiver. It just shows that the Bills just didn't need Diggs anymore. And I said this while he was on the Bills, and I said this when he left. When Diggs leaves, the team is going to succeed because Josh Allen will have more people to throw to than just Diggs constantly, and he won't have to deal with Crybaby constantly crying in his ear saying throw to me even though he gets 200 fucking yards. Makes no sense to me and never has. So I thought Diggs leaving was a good thing for Josh Allen personally. So yeah, I think the Bills win this easily. The Patriots have looked like ass ever since the whole Brady franchise fucking ended. But yeah, Bills win. Not gonna spend much time on this. Chargers win. Raiders are shit. Yeah, that's just it there. Chargers good, Raiders ass. Now, this game here could be possibly one of the game of the weeks for me, just because it's sad to see the Niners fail so fucking badly this season. Coming off of last season to a close Super Bowl, a very, very close Super Bowl, and to becoming 6-10 right after is just horrible to see. And I know what people will say, well, injury. yes, I agree. Injuries did ruin this team quite easily. McCaffrey, him being injured at the very beginning of the season really hurt. Debo being a baby, and then Brandon Ayuk, just yeah, it didn't work as well as it should have. And your first round pick being shot during the offseason also just didn't help at all. That right there should have just been the show that it was going to be a bad season. And it also didn't help that your running back was also on the cover of Madden. Kind of puts you in the rough spot to begin with. Okay, for this game, it's rough to say because the Chiefs will be benching their starters. Meaning that Carson Wentz will be starting. He's not a bad player, but I'm just saying. For the fact that the Denver Broncos are fighting to be playoff contenders, and that's kind of what they need right now, I think the Broncos win this. I really do. And that's not to throw shade towards Wentz at all, but you're not starting any of your starters at all this week, which is fair. Why would you risk an injury to your best quarterback or any of your starters right before the playoffs? So yeah, I see the Broncos winning this and taking home the dub and becoming part of the playoff contenders. So, Broncos, I think, wins this easily. So to clarify, I don't mean super easy for the Broncos for the Chiefs game. I just mean it'll be easier than what they would have to go against with Patrick Mahomes. Now, this game, Seattle Seahawks and the Rams. Not to throw shade towards Seahawks, but they've looked average. They've looked like the average Seahawks that we normally see. But I have a feeling they lose this, weirdly enough. I think the Rams just take it home. I really do. And they become even more playoff bound. They're starting Jimmy Garoppolo, whatever his fucking last name. He played for the 49ers when they went to the Super Bowl for the first time. And he's not a bad player. So, but besides that, Geno Smith hasn't played the worst, but he hasn't been playing the best. He kind of just has been there. He does have, I think, one of the lower average quarterback ratings, which is bad for him. So, I think the Rams win this and just make the Seahawks 9-8. Me personally, but yeah, Rams win. Now, this game. This could be the funniest game of the whole season. And that's the Jets beating the Dolphins. I think the Jets has the upper hand anyway because it is at home and it is going to be super fucking cold during this game. So, I think the Jets win this just because of those little upper hands they have, such as it being cold and it being on their turf. Meaning the Dolphins have to play in the cold, which not used to, and it's not their turf. So I think the Jets beat the Miami Dolphins and ruin their chances of becoming playoff contenders. I think that would be comedy gold to me, just seeing that the Miami Dolphins lose, and I think that's when the Dolphins should fire their head coach. That's just me personally. He's not the best head coach, and it shows. Every time he goes against the team above a 0.5 or 0.500, however you want to say it, I would just say 0.5. He shits him. He shits himself. Like, it just shows every time, And I honestly just don't think he should be the head coach for the Dolphins. And Tua, me personally, I think Tua should just retire. After that concussion scare, should just call it quits. And yeah, I think the Jets win just because of how cold it is and it's on their turf. And the Dolphins have to play in the cold, which not used to. And now the game of the week. These are teams that are fighting for the number 1 seed for the NFC. That's peak right there. It's the Vikings against the Lions. And it's hard to say who I want to win. I like the Vikings and I like the Lions. I like the Lions head coach. I like Jared Goff. I like Laporta. I like a lot of things about the Lions. But you have the Vikings. Sam Darnold, the comeback player of the year. Like, and he has Justin Jefferson. Like, it's so crazy to me. And it's so hard to choose who I want to win for this game. Because not only do I like the Lions, but I really like the Vikings on this for this game. It is going to be at Lions home, which they have the advantage there. But it's just hard to choose here. If I really have to choose, I'm going to choose the Lions winning this. And I do see them becoming Super Bowl contenders. Both are Super Bowl contenders, don't get me wrong. But I push towards the Lions more for Super Bowl than Vikings. Do I think they see each other again some point? Maybe. I do definitely see them seeing each other again, maybe during the playoffs, if that's possible. But yeah, it's going to be a great game, but I'm going to have to choose the Lions here. They just look so good this season that it's hard to not choose the Lions this season. Jared Goff has been playing out of his fucking mind this season. He has a great weaponry, and the defense has looked great as well. So again, this game is definitely the game of the week. In all honesty, I don't care who wins, but I'm leaning more towards the Lions. But whoever wins, I'm happy with, because I know this is going to be a great game to watch. So that was all my picks for Week 18 for the final week of football for regular season. This season has went by so quickly, and I enjoyed every week watching the different teams, watching who's all succeeded and all that, especially all the talks of who's going to be MVP. It's really exciting, even though I think Lamar will get it this season just because he's played better than his other MVP seasons. But if it's not Lamar, it's Joe, if Joe can get into the playoffs. My personal opinion. I do think Josh Allen is a great third, but Joe Burrow, man, he's played out of his fucking mind with one of the worst defenses on the team, and they have went through dog shit. So it's definitely a crazy season. All of the ref shit that's happened this season has been very annoying to deal with and watch during the games. But honestly, loved the season though at the same time, and I hope you guys also enjoyed the season as much as I did, because it was just fun to watch, and all the teams fucking going crazy this season too, especially some of the low caliber teams that no one thought was going to be good, like the Vikings and Commanders. Like that shit's awesome to see teams succeed so well after people talking shit about them during the offseason, me being one. So yeah, it's awesome to see them win. Jane Daniels, in my opinion, deserves Rookie of the Year. And also the draft class this season looks fucking amazing. Travis, OJ Simpson, Hunter it's gonna be crazy to see where he goes. Shadir, I'm mixed with Shadir, but it's gonna be crazy to see where he goes as well though. But yeah, I hope you guys liked the video, and I'll see you guys next time for the playoffs prediction. Peace.